Hi, welcome to Vicky Makes and Builds. I am back with the 33,600 piece wildlife puzzle by Educa. In my last video about this, I managed to get about halfway through this double bag mixed section, which is section 6 and 7 of the 10 panels. So here's my progress. So we can see I had done most of the flying things, birds and bugs. The sky had come together really well, and some of those red flowers at the top. We have some giraffes and some zebras and some flamingos and alligators. Got some water pieces as well down there near the bottom. So with most of my smaller piles of pieces pretty much done, it's now time for me to tackle some of the larger piles of pieces, and I will be starting off with the pile that makes up the rhinos, the hippos, and those big elephants. There are a lot of pieces there, and many of them are the same colour, lots of different shades of brown. Wouldn't surprise me if there were also a few orangutan pieces in there and some leftover alligator pieces as well. So there's a lot to get through. So I think we should just dive right in with some more sorting. I hope you enjoy. Okay, I've stopped here because although there is still a fair bit of elephant and hippo and especially rhino to do, I needed to clear my tripod off the puzzle. What I'd done just there, as I'm sure you'll have noticed, was try to focus just on this bottom half of the puzzle. I wanted to give a bit of an idea of what it was going to look like more close up coming together. I thought that looked cool, and by and large it worked and it was good. However, I was starting to get a little frustrated because it was a large pile of pieces. Many of them actually belonged at the top of the puzzle, and those ones that I did find are there, just at the top there. I couldn't put those in yet because there was things on that side of the puzzle. My tripod was there. But what I realized was that I had actually made a mistake with some of those pieces at the top, and that they did belong down here. So I'll try and give you an example because it's sort of hard to explain. I'll need the poster for this as well. So, for example, in this rhino, there are some, and I don't know how well you can see it on here, but there's some kind of purple hues to its skin. Now, the elephants mostly are kind of yellowy, orange, brown, got a little bit of green on that one. The hippos are different again. They've almost got some kind of silver to them. Some of the colouring is very similar, so there are gaps, like here where it's in shadow and it's brown. There's a lot of the same colour that I haven't tackled yet. But what I found with this rhino was there are a lot of purplish coloured pieces which I got out and separated. But I spent a long time just looking and staring and not really getting anywhere. I managed to get a bit in there, a couple of bits here, a little bit there where there's some more texture, these few pieces here. But what I had actually done was I had moved some of the purple pieces, especially the lighter ones, up to the top of the puzzle, thinking it was this monkey here, because he's a little bit purple as well. So when I was looking for the pieces and I thought, I think I may have put them up there, and you know, that was wrong. And then I thought, well, I really could do with being able to just put that monkey together. Now there's a little bit of him there. He's got a pair of legs mostly, but it's really just a white gap. There's some pieces there that I've left kind of just in that white gap that I know are that monkey. You can just tell because it's kind of an outline. But among those pieces, there were in fact pieces that belong to this rhino. And I thought, you know what, it's going to be easier at this point to just put as many of those pieces in as I can and just try and gap fill a little bit to narrow down the pile so that I know that what's left definitely goes here. You know, it's unlikely to go in other parts of the puzzle now. Most of the rest of this, aside from the elephants, is green. A lot of this bit is green. So those pieces are going to be in the green pile. There's not going to be any confusion. Now, I have also been filling in gaps in the water, so I have been going back to the leftovers, which is fine while I was working on the bottom of the puzzle. But as I say, I was finding pieces, I knew they went up here, and it was kind of hindering my progress a bit on the puzzle, having the tripod in the middle of the table. So I thought, right, I'm gonna just leave it at that for the close-ups, and I'm going to try and narrow down pieces, get rid of some leftovers, fill in some gaps, and just then I'll know that the pieces that are remaining for the elephants and the rhino are going to belong here and not somewhere else, because it was just getting just a little bit frustrating just staring at the pieces and not really like being able to figure out why I just couldn't find them. That alligator's come together really nicely. There are just a few left of the alligator now. More of the hippos came together than I was expecting, because they weren't really my focus, but I was finding bits that I knew were the hippos. So we've got a little bit of an outline of the hippos there, which I'm pleased about. They're not actually that big in comparison to the rhino and the elephants. And the elephants, as it turned out, had plenty of texture to them, so the trunks were pretty obvious. Even like the forehead where the skin's quite sort of wrinkled, and you know, areas where there's dark against light and things like that actually did make it a bit easier than I expected with the elephants. But yeah, this rhino's quite tough. finally, I have pretty much done the elephants, the hippos, the alligators all done, and most of these rhinos. Wow, that took a long time and it was a lot of pieces, but I'm so happy. They look so good. Oh wow, they look so good. So now I am down to some leftovers and my big pile of green pieces, which are over here. So, well, the green pieces are somewhere else, but these are my leftovers. So they're all the ones that were leftovers from the top of the puzzle. So you're talking tree branches, sky, flowers, leaves, that kind of thing. So there's still a lot there, and as you can see, they've got a little bit messed up from moving the board around. These are leftovers from every other pile. So they're leftovers from rhinos, hippos, elephants, bits of animal, the dark pieces. I got rid of a load of those. Most of those went down where that rhino is. So there's hardly any in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those together with those and have all the leftovers just in one place. And most of these will go at the top of the puzzle anyway. So that's okay. There's a few wee leftovers under there as well. Not very many. Their ones are separated from the rhino and that pieces because I thought they went at the top, and I think they still do. I just can't find where they go. So they're all going to get amalgamated onto the board, and then I'm going to start sorting green pieces. Now let me go and get the green pieces. Okay, this is the box of green pieces. Oh, these on this piece of paper are leftover water pieces. I actually forgot about those, but I put them in with the greens because they're all green too. There may be some missorts in there. These are all the green pieces. There's quite a lot, but I do think that they are sortable. And what I'm going to be aiming to do is sorting piles that are, so any pieces that have even tiny bits of other things, like for example, that piece, which clearly has a little bit of elephant ear on it. Not sure which elephant. There. It goes there. So, any pieces like that with tiny bits of animal on. I'm also going to want to pick out these bits here. I think they'll be quite easy to spot. You've got these spiky leaves. You've got this wee plant here, these big kind of leathery looking leaves, all of that. So you've got some mossy green here. So all of that stuff I will separate. And there's a few pieces with that lily pad on in there. I mean, with some of them, if there's any background, that will help. So if there's clearly water in the background, that's going to help distinguish where they go. So I'll be looking for these ones and any lily pads. I'll be looking for any pieces with tiny bits of animal on that I can use to gap fill. I'll be looking for pieces where it's sort of trees, it's sort of darker, a bit more textured. And that will be kind of this bit here. Then it will be any lighter greens that sort of blend into this mountainous region here. But most of that's actually done. I did all of that in the first half. Then we've got these. Now this side is pretty much done. We've got a few wee gaps, but this top right corner has a fair bit more work to do, and I think that's partially because a lot of the leftovers go up there. Just move this board. So you see there, and partially because it's just a lot of green, really. There's not much sky in there, it's a lot of green. We've also got a snake that I somehow missed in the sorting, but it is green. It's green with tiny little red spots. So I think that's going to be, I think once I spot those pieces, I think I might, be able to pick those out pretty easily. So maybe separate snake as well. But I mean, I will take it as it comes and just see what there is, and any more kind of sorting I can do beyond that, I will do. Sorting, building little patches, filling gaps, and tackling this big bit here and these bits here. So let's see how it goes and then finish it off. Finish it off. look at how close I am to finishing this puzzle. I'm just going to pan along, and this area along to the side is all that's left. Bar a couple of bits in there, that whole bottom section is done. And yeah, I'm very, very, very close to finishing. So where I'm at now, I only have green pieces left. I have started putting green pieces in. That's filled out a lot of that area. And bits of this area next to the elephant. So bits like that tree where the texture's a bit different, or pieces where it's like obviously water, or this area here where there's some leafy textures. Those have gone in. Brightly coloured green pieces I've tried to put in as much as I can. So things like these hills I've sort of started to put together. Got that butterfly attached. But there are other things that are helping me with this. So before I get onto that, I'll show you what pieces I have left. So this is all I've got left. They are all this shape. They're all the funky shapes with the wobbly sides. And they are all this shape. And that is it. That's all that's left. So really, I guess what I'm doing is just seeking and finding and putting them in, but I am still using texture, and I am still, rather than kind of testing one piece after another, I've not got to that point yet. I am sort of looking at the pieces, and I'm using things like the shapes of the prongs, like ones that are shaped like that with quite an angular sort of line to them. Things like that are what I'm picking up on. There aren't many of those pieces left, so wherever I find a piece where one of those goes in, that goes in pretty quick. So for example here, and here. So I can fill those in fairly quickly. But another thing that is helping, and I'm just going to focus on this a tiny bit. So remember the internal border pieces, or that's what I call them. They're shaped like this, the 3 prongs and 1 in, or the 3 ins and 1 out, or occasionally there's one where there's a wobbly bottom, but it's kind of a different way to the other wobbly bottom ones. So like it's next to that one, which is kind of its opposite. So along those borders, the pieces beside those are, if you look just above it, they're a little bit smaller. They're a little bit more short. So you can kind of tell if a piece is a bit small, it doesn't generally fit into the kind of the normal spots, you can kind of tell it's going to go somewhere along one of these dividing lines. And I've put a couple of pieces in using that. The other area where you find slight differences in the pieces are the edges of the panels, bits where the panels join. So now I'm doing a double section here. So we've got a row on the far right side, and we have a row of them on the far left over there. But we also have a row in the middle where, if you look closely, now I have to just find it first, bear with me. Here, if you look closely, the pieces along that join are slightly misaligned in the grid, but also the prongs and the gaps that they go into are smaller. So if you find a piece with a particularly small prong, then usually you can tell that goes along one of the edges. Now, all of the edges on that side are done. This side I only have 2, I think. So when I find pieces, when I stumble across pieces that have these small prongs to them, then I'm sort of just randomly putting it in this area because I know it's going to go there, but they don't. So there's a group of them here that don't quite attach yet. So things like that are helping as well. Now, that's it really. I'm using everything within my arsenal to try and avoid testing piece after piece after piece, because I find that such a laborious way of puzzling, and I really don't want to start doing that. I'd rather just observe the piece and try and figure out where it goes using the textures if I can. And I'm trying to fill in gaps, smaller gaps like this, as much as I can first. And if I happen across any with tiny bits of other things in, like there's probably one with a little bit of black on the prong that fits in with that vine, things like that, anything like that, I'll grab it and I'll put it in. And it is getting there slow but sure. It's just a very slow process, but I'm so close and I can't wait to finish this puzzle. I really can't. So I'm going to get on with it just now and I'm going to try and finish it today. Oh, fingers crossed. finished! Yay! I'm so glad. I was so happy to place that final piece. This was a tough section. I think partially because it's been a while really since I've done this puzzle prior to starting these sections, and also because it's a double section, so it's just bigger. There's bigger areas to puzzle, you know, all those animals at the bottom. Like if I'd have just done section 6 individually, I really would only have had to have dealt with the big elephants and the alligator at the bottom. But with it being double, I had more elephants and I had these rhino as well. And I have to say that I think really the main kind of problematic area for me was this big rhino here. Oh, Lord. So, I mean, I thought it was going to be the big elephants that were going to be the tough ones, but actually they turned out not to be too bad. With the rhino, what I found was it was mostly made up of kind of purplish coloured pieces, but not only that, it also had a lot of dark coloured pieces in it, and it also had really light coloured pieces in it where the sun was shining off it at the top. So what I found was that a lot of the rhino pieces were actually in the wrong piles of pieces. So I, you know, when I kind of went to go at it and thought it would, you know, all come together really well, I spent a lot of time just staring at it because I had pieces of it in the dark pieces pile, I had pieces of it in the elephant and rhino pile, but I also had pieces that I'd separated because I thought there were the monkey at the top, and I even found some pieces in with the sky pieces, really, really light coloured pieces that I thought were the sky, and it turned out to be the rhino. So it was a lot of back and forth and trying to kind of gather the pieces together from the different piles before I could actually really build that up. And yeah, so that I found quite tough and frustrating at times. But the greens in the middle, sort of upper middle, were a bit of a slog, admittedly, but only really in the sense that there was a lot of shape sorting and testing pieces towards the end because they were all just really similar looking to each other. And there aren't a massive variety of shapes in this puzzle, so that did become a little laborious towards the end as well. But it wasn't actually too bad. And to be fair, it's not a really overly green section, so it wasn't it, and I could kind of differentiate the greens up here from the greens down there from the greens here, so the greens weren't really an issue. So that was good. But I really, really enjoyed putting together things like the flamingos, the parrots, all the lovely bright birds and bugs. I always enjoy doing those parts of this puzzle. The zebras and the giraffes went together quite well. Even, you know, the flowers and the greenery at the top, that was really enjoyable to put together, as well as these orangutans. So there's so much of it to love, and it's just so stunning. Like, I am always overwhelmed by how lovely this puzzle is when I just look at it finished. So I really, really enjoyed it. Sadly, this is the first section that I have built where there has been a broken piece. Up to now, I've found a couple of damaged pieces. I do have problems with this puzzle in the sense that some of the pieces get stuck together. I think it's the shape of the prongs. Some of them are kind of hook shaped and they get stuck together, and you have to take them apart because they're not supposed to be together. But it becomes quite difficult to do that without damaging them. I've sort of got better at that. So 1 or 2 damaged pieces up to now, which for the amount of pieces I've done hasn't really been too bad at all. But this is the first section that I've come across with a completely broken piece. One of the prongs had completely come off, and it's down here in the water section. I found it pretty quickly in the build process, but it's down there, and I'm not decided yet quite what I'll do about that. I don't know whether or not to just leave it and make it a personalised quirk of this particular copy of the puzzle, or whether to replace it using the piece replacement system. I don't know, but I think I won't decide on that until I've actually finished the puzzle, because I don't know if there's going to be any other damaged pieces in the other bags. I have 3 bags left to go, only 3 more sections. 7 of the 10 are now done. I can't believe how close I am getting. It really is starting to feel really exciting. I won't be mixing any more bags. I will be doing each section individually. So the next one will be section 8, and I'll just give you a quick look at that to see what's coming with this puzzle. So here it is. As you can see, a lot more green. The foliage is starting to close up again now on that right hand side. But what I like about this is that there is a very big area with zebra. Now, I've always actually found the zebra not too bad to do in this puzzle. It could be that these will bamboozle me. They take up quite a large proportion of the bottom of the section. But I think, you know, the way the stripes go, they're not all in the same direction. There's some that kind of go diagonally one way and some the other way. And yeah, I'm liking that about it. We've also got more orangutan at the top, but there's not a great deal of other animals that are the same colour in here. So hopefully that'll be sort of straightforward to sort through and put those together. We've got red flowers again, but actually really quite big ones in this section, less tiny ones. One or two here and there, but I'm hoping they might be fine. No flamingos in this section, so I'm going to miss those. You've got a leopard sitting on the tree branch there as well. It's quite a big bit of tree trunk. So I think that'll make up quite a lot of pieces as well. So this is quite different, this section, different to what I've done. I'm hopeful that the different textures in the leaves and the greenery will be fairly straightforward to sort and put together. But I think, you know, as always, greens will end up coming last and they'll be pretty hard work. But yeah, I like this section. I think it's going to be good and I can't wait to get to it. I really can't wait to get to it. So that is what's coming for wildlife. I haven't actually been to the hall yet to put this puzzle together and photograph it. I don't have space in my flat to put it together now. I've been having to take it to a hall and put it together on the floor in there to take pictures of it. I have not had a chance to go and do that yet because I literally only just finished the puzzle. So I'm going to take it hopefully next week, take some pictures of the whole thing together. I can't wait to see how that looks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a separate video out on that. It'll be a shorter video, just showcasing the puzzle together so far. But I don't think anything's going to quite prepare me for how it's going to look with all 10 panels together. I really don't, but I think it's going to look stunning with the 7. I am not certain that my camera will even fit it all in. I really hope so. It's just getting so wide now because it's a panorama. It's a really wide puzzle just now. And there are 23,520 pieces completed now of the 33,600. So that is a lot of pieces to fit into a camera lens. But I will do my best for you and hopefully you'll enjoy that video when I pop it out, hopefully next week. But thank you so much for watching. I'm going to leave it there just now. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and leave a comment as well. Let me know what you think of this puzzle. If you've got any thoughts on it, I really would love to read your comments on this. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then please do consider subscribing. You can become a member if you're interested in lots of extra content that I put over in the members area. We've got progress videos on the large puzzles, first look puzzle hauls, members only live chat access, and lots more over there. So if you are interested in joining Vicky Makes and Builds, there's a link in the description below. But I'm going to say for now, thank you to everybody for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Happy puzzling. Bye.